have different text, pictures, audio content. There are many other forms of contents. So we can create our videos, we can create pictures, we can edit them, and then we can distribute them. We have different mediums through which we can distribute that content. Starting from the very basic ones, we have Facebook. We create our own content there and we distribute it with our friends and other people as well through different pages. Then we share different preferences. Pinterest might be a best example of how we share preferences, right? Or other sites as well. Bookmarks, creating online personas. This is another very interesting thing that the Web 2.0 has actually enabled us to do. What we do that nowadays almost everyone is living two different lives. One is the real one and the other one is the online one. And in most cases, surprisingly, these two personalities are very much different. But not going into that debate right now, we are focusing on what Web 2.0 is enabling us. And it has enabled us to create online personas and build online communities and participate in them actively. For example, if each and every one of you think about your Facebook pages, those Facebook pages are online communities which you have actually built for yourselves. Your Facebook profile represents a certain persona of you. Now that persona may be a little different from the reality, but this is how it is supposed to be. We are getting online personas, we are getting the opportunity of creating a different persona for us in a different community which we have built. We have communities on Facebook, we have communities on Instagram, we have communities on many other websites, Google, Yahoo, you name it. So these are separate personas, these are our different virtual lives, and we have built online communities over there. And we also have the ability to modify or to customize this online community which we have built for ourselves. Now in real life we may face different things which we do not want to face, but in the online community which we have built for ourselves, we do have the power of what to face and what not to face. We can choose the kind of life we want. So Web 2.0 has enabled the user to create content and distribute that content, and it has also enabled us to build online communities and build our own online personas. Comparing it with the Web 1.0, or mostly known as Web, it simply enabled us to access and navigate through existing content. There was certain content, it was maybe created by some experts or some very specific people. Probably some people even paid for it. So that content was available and we could only navigate through it. We could only see it. We could only watch it. We did not have the ability to create that content ourselves or edit it or distribute it in any way, right? So Web 1.0 and 2.0 differs they are very different from each other, but the very important and the basic point is of content creation. Here we can create our own content, but in Web 1.0 the content was already there and we as users could only see it, could only navigate through it. By 2007 very much was evolved and user generated content became very much mainstream. We have Twitter, we have YouTube, we have Instagram, we have Wikipedia, we have Facebook, we have Snapchat, we have TikTok nowadays. So all kinds of content is now being created by user itself. Now some of that content might be for entertainment purposes, some of them might be for some educational purposes, for business purposes. It varies, but the important thing to remember is that Web 2.0 has enabled us to create content and to build online communities, and this is all what these websites are about. Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Wikipedia, Facebook, and many others, they are our online communities which we build for ourselves. Going further, what are the basic characteristics of Web 2.0? The first one, which we have discussed already, that here we have user generated content. The other thing is easy search capability. Another wonderful thing about Web 2.0 is that we can very easily search things over here as compared to the older web or even the physical businesses. The third point is that Web 2.0 is highly interactive and we have an opportunity for networking. Another important of Web 2.0 is that it is interactive. Two-way communication can happen. On the other hand, on Web 1.0, when there was some existing content and we could only navigate through it, that was not two-way communication, that was not interactive. That was only one-way communication from those certain people towards us. We could not respond to it, we could not react to it, we could not add to it. But in this case, we have an interactive session, we have interactive environment, and in that environment, we have a lot of opportunity for networking, making new friends, making business contacts, making all sorts of relationships over the internet. The next thing is that it highly relies on broadband connectivity. Obviously, when Web 2.0 is offering so much to us, so that would require a larger bandwidth. So broadband connectivity is important here. Another important thing which is very directly related to businesses nowadays is that here we have huge profit potential. Why is this profit potential huge? Because the cost of entry is low, as we have already discussed that cost of entry into electronic commerce is very low as compared to traditional businesses. And the benefit here is that we have a huge audience. The whole globe is actually an audience for an online business, because we have already discussed that online businesses are not confined to geography or any kind of boundary, right? So here we have huge profit potentials because we have low costs and we have a very large audience which we can target, which we can say that there are potential customers. Let's go further. Now we will talk about types of e-commerce. Now, you people being business students, I'm very sure that you people already know these things, but let's go over them one more time. The first one is business to consumer commerce. We all know when businesses are selling things to end consumers. Amazon is an example of that. On Amazon, what is happening? There are different businesses. They are selling to consumers. The next thing is business to business e-commerce. What happens? The name, it is very obvious. It suggests that here businesses are selling to businesses. An example of this is gotopaper.com. This is a website. This is a business which fulfill the paper needs of other businesses. All the paper needs of other businesses are fulfilled by gotopaper.com. So here in this case, a business is providing a service or a product to another business. The next is consumer to consumer. Mostly we can say that these are the secondary markets when consumers are selling things to consumers. We have eBay, we have Parkwheels, we have OLX.com and many other platforms where different consumers are selling stuff to different consumers. The fourth important point is social e-commerce. The fourth type is social e-commerce. The word social suggests that a social community comes in here. We make a social presence, we make a social platform, different type of people, different races of people, people with different interests, they all combine together and they live in an online society. Pinterest, Facebook, etc. These are classic examples of social e-commerce, that when business is conducted on these social platforms. Then we have m-commerce, short for mobile commerce. When smartphones are used for commercial transactions, we can say that it is mobile commerce. Then we have local e-commerce. Local e-commerce focuses on engaging consumer on the basis of geographic location. For example, you somehow try to target audience in a specific city or a specific state. So we could say that this is local e-commerce when you're using e-commerce and you are trying to target people of a certain geographic location, right? Now, going further, the next thing is e-commerce business models. Now, before discussing the different e-commerce business models, let's go over one more time that what a business model actually is, and what is a business plan, and what is an e-commerce business model. These three things are related, so this is why we are going to compare them. The first is business model. Now, what is business model? It is a set of planned activities designed to result in a profit in a marketplace. Very simple definition. We plan different activities whenever we are trying to conduct business, and all those activities are aimed at one goal, and that goal is to making a profit in a marketplace, because obviously this is the prime reason why a certain business is being operated, to earn some profit. So how we are going to earn that profit? What are going to be those steps? What is our plan? How we are going to achieve this? This is what is known as a business model. We will go through it in detail in a while. The next thing is business plan. Business plan simply means that it is a document that describes a firm's business model. When business model is documented, it becomes a business plan. Now the third one, e-commerce business model. A business model that aims to use and leverage the unique qualities of internet and the World Wide Web. Very simple. It is a business model, of course. What is special about is that it aims to use and leverage the unique qualities of internet and the World Wide Web. Whenever you try to implement a certain business model in an online arena, or using the online tools which we have in order to be successful, so we can say that it is electronic commerce business model. Coming to the next step, key elements of a business model. Now let's discuss what are the key elements of a certain business model. The first one is value proposition. Value proposition is a very important part of a certain business, where we need to decide that what we are actually going to provide to the customer. As the first sentence here suggests, that how a company's product/service fulfills the need of a customer. Now, before going into this explanation, let's discuss one thing. As a consumer, whatever product we buy, we do not buy it for that certain physical existence or that certain physical product which becomes our possession. That is not the prime reason. The prime reason of buying any product is the value that it provides us. For example, if a certain person is wear spectacles, maybe he likes the design of it, yes, maybe he likes the brand of it, but the prime reason of wearing those spectacles was to get the ability to see clearly. Now, the basic value, the core value which spectacles are providing to a person is the ability to see clearly. Now, the other things, the style of it, the brand name of it, and the price of it, these different things, these are secondary. But the core value is to give us the ability to see clearly. We buy a car, it gives us the ability to travel. We buy a bag, it gives us the ability to carry our stuff around. So, value proposition means that what are those specific needs of a customer which you are going to be fulfilling. We as a company, we as a brand need to be very clear about it, and we should be doing that well. How can we do it well? We need to understand why would a consumer buy something from you and not your competitor. What is so special about you? This speciality is going to be defined by your value proposition, right? Making things more easy and customized for the customer. This might be a way to do it. Amazon Kindle is a classic example of that. Amazon Kindle has actually solved the reading problems of its customers. Amazon Kindle offer them a better, a smart way to access to different books and read them, right? So value proposition, the first important part of a business plan, of a business model. The next thing is revenue model. Now, this is also very important. It describes how a firm will earn its revenue, how it is going to earn profits, how it is going to get return on its invested capital. And this is again related to the prime motive of business, to earn profit, to earn revenue. Now, there are many ways in which an online business can earn revenue. The first thing is advertising revenue model. A company provides forum for ads and charge for it. Whenever we are going through different websites, whenever we are going through our Facebook pages or our YouTube channels or any other random website, ads are consistently popping up everywhere. There are ads before every YouTube video, there are ads on every Facebook page, there are ads on every Hotmail and Yahoo and you name them. So this is a source of revenue for the company who is actually providing that medium. What the company does, what that organization or a website does, it provides other people a space to add, a space to promote their products, a space to advertise their products, and they charge for it. The next thing is subscription revenue model. Company charges a fee to give customers access to the content. We often come across different content which we want to access, but when we click on it, we come to know that we need to pay a certain amount for it. We need to get its subscription. We need to subscribe for it. There are many examples. For example, the journal Harvard Business Review. Now, in order to access it completely, we need to subscribe for it. That comes probably with a payment. Netflix nowadays, it is very much being used for different types of video content. We also need a subscription to that. We pay a certain amount of fee, and then we are able to access the whole content inside. So this is another way to earn revenue. Then we have transaction revenue model. Company receives a fee for enabling a transaction. There are different platforms on which we can conduct business. It is not necessary that you should own your own platforms. There are many platforms on which we can conduct business. For example, Daraz.com in Pakistan. Now, it is a platform which enables people around the country to make electronic transactions, right? So what they do, how they earn their revenue, is that whenever a certain transaction occurs, they have a specific fee or a specific percentage in it, and this is how they earn their revenue. Then we have sales revenue model. A company derives its revenue by selling goods or services. Probably that those goods or services, they might be owning them, they might be their own goods and services, and when they sell those goods and services, they earn some revenue from it. The last one is affiliate revenue model. A company steers business to affiliate and receives fee or a percentage. To explain it in very simple words, often when we are roaming around, we are navigating on the internet, we see a product, we click on it, and when we click on it, it suddenly redirects us to another website, to the original website where the product actually exists. So what happens that there are many bigger websites, Amazon and many other websites, they have affiliates, different smaller partners, and what those partners do, they try to bring more and more business through their websites to that main parent website. And in return, when a certain smaller website brings a client to Amazon.com, so Amazon.com in return pays him a certain predetermined amount of money. So this is how they actually, this is how companies can earn revenue. Now it is important to know, it is important to understand that these revenue models are not mutually exclusive. Many of them can be existing at the same time. A company might be using all of them at the same time, or a company might be using three of them or two of them or even one of them. So it is not necessary that a company will only be using one model. And we know a lot of companies around us, a lot of websites where all these models are being used simultaneously. Then the third part of a business model is market opportunity. Overall potential or the financial opportunity available to the firm in the market space. Whenever we try to enter into a certain business, we should know that there is an opportunity. Obviously, if we are aware that there is no opportunity for a certain business in a certain area, it won't be making sense to operate in that area. For example, if I speak in terms of marketing, Sibbi and Jacobaba, these are very warm places of this country, of Pakistan. In summers, they sometimes reach to 50 degrees, and winters in those areas are not very harsh. So, if a certain person goes to Sibbi and he opens a shop where he's trying to sell some very heavy jackets for winters, now what do you think? Does it make sense? Would that business be successful over there? No, because there is no potential for such type of product in that area. Now this product might be very successful in the colder northern areas, but not in that specific area. We must also see financial potential, whether people have the ability to buy this product. I'll give you an example that why Lamborghini and Ferrari and Bugatti and Rolls-Royce and many these big brands are not operating in countries like Pakistan, in countries like Bangladesh, in countries like Sudan, because there is no financial opportunity available. People do not have the purchasing power for those products. So there is no financial opportunity available in those markets. That is why they are not operating here. So same is the case with electronic business, that whenever we are trying to enter into a market, we should make sure that there is an opportunity, a financial opportunity. Only then we should be entering into that market. The next thing is competitive environment. We have studied a lot about competition in marketing, and we are well aware of how important your competitive environment is. And what is a competitor? Competitor basically refers to companies operating in the same marketplace where you are operating, and they are selling the similar products, similar to your product. These are the people which we can term as our competitors. Now, competitors are important, and why they are important, we will come to that point. Let's assume a situation where there is no competition and a certain business has monopoly. In this case, the whole power is with the company. Power is with the company. And why a company has the power? Because the customer do not have any other option. They have to buy that product because there are no other options. But what competition does is that it gives customers options to choose. It gives customers the power of choice. So this is why, as competition increases, the power actually keeps shifting to the customer from the company. So when there are many competitors operating in the business, each and every one is in a consistent struggle to get more and more customers. So this is why it is very important to keep an eye on your competitive environment if you want to survive, and you should take steps accordingly. The next is competitive advantage. Now, competitive advantage is something very important. First, let's talk about how we can gain a competitive advantage over our competitor, of course. There are two possibilities. The first is to have a superior product or service or experience. This means that your product or the service that you are offering, it should be better than what your competitor is offering. This is one way of achieving competitive advantage, and the other way of achieving competitive advantage is to lower your prices, to be a price leader in the company. Many people might be offering the same product of a same quality with same characteristics, but it is very natural that a customer would buy a product which has a lower price. Now, a competitive advantage can be achieved in many ways. For example, we have favorable terms with our suppliers, and they are giving us good deals. Maybe they are giving us better raw material, or maybe they are giving us raw material in a better price. So this would obviously give us a competitive advantage over our competitor. More knowledge and experience about the market, obviously very important. There is a tacit there is some tacit knowledge about the market which we do not see from the outside, but businesses that operate in that particular market, they have that knowledge. They have an idea of the trends, the demands of people, when are they going to change, how they are going to change. So this type of knowledge also gives you a competitive advantage. The other thing is first mover advantage. First mover advantage means that when you are the first entrant into a specific market, obviously it gives us an advantage. It has some drawbacks too, but majorly it gives us an advantage because initially we are having a monopoly in that place, and we are the sole provider of that service. So it has its own advantages. Loyal employees, very important. Loyal employees can give you a competitive advantage, and if we look at the big names, the big corporations, the big organizations, they do invest a lot in their employees, and when the employees started to believe in the brand, then this belief actually gets started to reflect in all the operations, and ultimately it reaches to the customer. Another thing is patents or copyrights. These are different things, but what is a patent? We do hear that word a lot. Patent in very simple patents are in very simple words. If I try to explain it, patent. The first thing we need to know is that we buy patents of a certain thing for a specific period of time. For example, if I have invented something new, it may not be a very scientific invention. It can be a unique solution to a certain problem. Now, when I have invented or when I have introduced that specific solution to a problem which no one else is currently offering, I do have a facility of buying patents of that product. For example, if I buy patents of that product for 5 years, this would mean that no other organization, no matter how powerful it is, can make that product for 5 years at least. Now, why is this thing introduced? Why this thing exists? This is to protect or to give benefit to that first person who has actually introduced that specific product. Because if at the same time many other people, they copy the formula or they copy the idea, so the advantage of that person would be lost who has actually came up with it for the very first time. So patents gives it in a way protects the actual creator of that product or a service or a solution, whatever it might be. There are many other things which we need to consider, and they do create competitive advantage. The first one is asymmetry. Asymmetry means that when things are not balanced, when one firm has more resources, when one firm has more knowledge, when one firm has more experience or power, right? So these things, one firm must be having more resources than the other one, so it creates an asymmetry, and obviously it would work in the favor of the firm which has better resources. So this is also a contributor to competitive advantage. First mover advantage, we have already discussed it. Related to it, there is a thing known as complementary resource. Complementary resource are basically resources that are not directly involved in the production, but they are required for success, right? They are kind of, we can say that these are augmented resources. They are not the core resources, but they are augmented resources. These are supportive resources which will benefit our business if we have them, right? Mostly in the case of first movers, these resources are not there, and the reason is that initially people are not aware of that, because someone is entering into a certain market with a new product with the very first time. There is no knowledge about it, there is no experience about it, right? So complementary resources, they go in the favor of late movers, not in the favor of first movers. Then there is another thing known as unfair competitive advantage. Advantage that other firms cannot purchase or achieve. Now, what could that be? Any firm, larger firms, they can buy technology, they can buy different designs. By spending money, they can do anything that you want. They can copy any characteristic of a certain company, of a certain competitor. But there are certain things which you cannot buy. For example, a brand name. I'll take an example of Coca-Cola, or I'll take an example of Apple. Apple is a brand name, and it has many meanings attached to it. There are different meanings like sophistication, class, quality. Now these are different meanings which are attached to Apple. So this is why when we see the Apple logo on a certain product, we automatically assume it to be of a better quality. Now this feeling, these meanings which Apple has, this aura which Apple has created around its products, it takes a lifetime. Many organizations are unable to do it even in a lifetime. They try to do it, but they do not succeed. So this is the type of things which you cannot buy. This is the type of thing which you cannot acquire. So when you have this type of advantage, so we can say that it is unfair, because you cannot compete with a successful brand name. Going further, the next thing is market strategy. Market strategy simply means how to enter into the market and how to attract customers. Entering into a market, we need to decide with what strategy with what strategy we are about to enter. We can go with market penetration strategy, we can go with market skimming strategy, right? There are many other strategies. So here we need to decide what strategy we need to use while entering into a market, and after that how we are going to attract our customers, how we are going to promote our product. Obviously when you enter into a new market and you are a new name in the market, so attracting customers can be very challenging. There are many tools and techniques that businesses use to attract customers. Some try to lower their prices, some try to give an exceptional quality, some offer different promotional offers. So these are many things which people do in order to attract customers. The next is organizational development. Organizational development simply means that you are going to specify people, we are going to pick people, and you are going to decide what jobs falls to what person and does he qualify for it. So in other words, it is a team development. You need to develop a team for yourself. Management team, point number 8. Leadership is very important. Management is very important. So you need to select your management team, your leadership team. The 9th point is we need to raise capital to start a business. Of course, whatever business you might be starting, you will need a certain amount of capital for it. Some businesses require very large capital, some businesses require less capital. What are the possibilities? The first possibility, the first source of capital can be seed capital. Seed capital simply means that when you are trying to finance, or when you are trying to uh, when you are trying to finance your business on your own, you might be having some savings, or maybe you sell your house, or maybe you sell some land, or maybe you acquire a loan from a bank, or maybe you acquire loan from a friend or some cousin. So when you try to arrange the capital for a business yourself, that type of capital is known as seed capital. The other thing is incubator. Incubators are small organizations, small businesses. What they do is that they help you in your businesses. They can probably provide you with small capital, but majorly they would provide you with different expertise and advices, and uh, whatever experience they have. On the basis of that, they will try to help you. But in terms of in monetary terms, they will not make some very big investments with you, and the purpose of them is to help those businesses. And of course, in return, they might require a certain share in the company, or maybe a certain percentage of a profit. The next thing is angel investors. Now, as the word suggests itself, angel investors. Angel, it is a very positive word. Angel investors are those people who are ready to invest larger amounts in your business, and their purpose is only to help you. They do not need your business, but the purpose is to help you. But in return, they will ask for a certain share in the company or in the profit. But they will not interfere in your business. They will just let you work in your own way. They are not very strict. D is venture capital investors. Now, these are firms, or maybe a group of people, or maybe an individual. They invest large amounts of money in your business, but the downside to it is that they do exercise a lot of control on your business, and in case you are bankrupting or anything, they will try to get the money back from you in one way or another. Probably they would have you mortgage something with them or something like that. The next thing is, and yes, venture capital investors, they exercise a lot of control over you, and they also require a larger share in your business. The last point is crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is mostly done for some social causes or things like that. Recently in our country, we have seen an example of crowdfunding when the government of Pakistan was appealing to the citizens of Pakistan to donate as much as they can for the dams which they were supposed to make. So crowdfunding is when there is a social cause, you go to crowds, you go to groups of people, you go to the public, and then you try to get funds, or they are more like donations for that particular purpose. So this was about raising the capital, and here we can end our second lecture. In our live session, we will have a question answer session about it, so feel free to ask any questions. And as usual, at the end of it, we do have another wonderful quote. Just read it. It will help you a lot in your lives. Thank you.